Hey everybody, Mr. Feliciano here. This is going to be our mid-range bow seminar for today. It's going to be 45 minutes, so make sure that you guys got something maybe to write on. Maybe you're taking notes on your phone or something like that, maybe off camera. Just make sure that you guys are ready. I'm going to give you about a minute or two to get on here. Really quick, I'm just going to talk about what we're going to do. First, guys, we're going to talk about our strikes more than anything, different types of strikes, how they're different from an XMA in creative form, because I know a lot of you guys are coming from doing bow, for your XMA and creative weapon just like I did. So we're going to talk about those differences, and then we're going to go through the form. I'm not going to teach it to you necessarily, right? You might learn a thing or two, but we're going to mostly go over it and really just talk about how to make it better if you already know it. This form is up on the app. I did it a couple of weeks ago. It's posted on there. So if you guys would like to follow along with that one, that works. I'm going to be taking it slower here than I did on the app, although on the app I did do it slowly. So those are two resources, guys, that you can use. And yeah, is there anybody on already, Mrs.
You have Sebastian, Jacob Mace, and Rock so far.
Awesome. Welcome.
And Samantha Raymer.
Cool. All right. So yeah, like I said, we're going to start on the strikes first, and then we're going to go ahead and move over to the form. Now, if you do XMA and creative, right, and you transition to do bow, I think the only one that hadn't done that is maybe Jacob Mace, although I think he did a little bit. When you do strikes in XMA and creative, you guys, most of it is based off of it looking good, right? And that's different from what actually works. So in XMA and creative, you do a forward strike, your elbow's straight, your wrist is kind of out this way, right? And everything's really, really long and really, really tall. That's not correct for your traditional bow, because if you do this and you actually hit something, you're going to hurt your elbow. So what we got to do, guys, when we focus on this, and this is throughout the entire form, is just making sure that we are doing it exactly like we would if we were actually hitting something. So if I came over to a bag over here, and I wanted to do, actually, let's go to the bob. I like bob better. I come over to the bob and I want to do a forward strike, right? A forward strike, it's a line one strike. I'm coming across this way, and I'm supposed to be hitting somebody either in the neck or the side of the head. So I bring it up on my shoulder. If I do this, first, like I said, that hurts my elbow, and second, I'm not hitting in the right place, you guys. So our forward strikes for our traditional form, we need to strike a little bit more off to the side and keep our arm a little bent right here, right? Not like an uppercut, that's different. It should be out a little bit more, and I struck like that because Bob's kind of short right now. But when you do this strike, guys, it should be here. If you ever talk to Chief Master or you ever have a lesson with him, he says it's Taekwondo if you didn't have a bow in your hand, and it's true. If I did that move without a bow, it's like I'm punching somebody right here, just in the jaw. So that's my forward strike in traditional, you guys. This hand still comes to my hip. That stays the same whether you do it in XMA and creative. But here it's this way instead of here. Less presentation, more practicality, which means, actually being able to use it. So that's our forward strikes, and that's on both sides. Because we do that strike on both sides in our form. We strike here, and then we strike here. Same thing. And that's actually a really good drill for you guys to practice, especially if you have a big bow like this one. If it's nice and thick and heavy, you can just stand there, not even in a stance or anything, just forward strike, switch your hands, forward strike. And it's especially good if you got a mirror too. That way you can see how your arm is bending, how it's doing all that stuff. So the next strike that we're going to go ahead and talk about are our uppercuts. Now our uppercuts, same thing like with our forward strikes. If I didn't have a bow in my hand, it would be a punch. Right? So this is my forward strike. This is my uppercut. That's where the name comes from. I know, mind blowing. Now if you look at my hand right here, guys, and you look at my arm, this is actually pretty close to what my bow needs to look like when it's in my hand. So I do that uppercut here, and it's here. XMA and creative, you might see somebody do this with their elbow, maybe even do this with their wrist. Again, that looks really cool, but if you do that and you hit something, your bow's going to come out of your hand, you're going to hurt your wrist, that type of thing. So what we need to make sure that we do is we dip our elbow down a little bit. That way we're using our bicep muscle, that strong muscle right there on top of our arm. And that we bring our hand a little bit lower. That way when we do that uppercut, it's like we're doing that punch, right? So one more time without the bow, it's there. Same exact thing. My elbow's down, my wrist is straight, I'm gripping it nice and tight. Right there. Now the last type of strike that we're going to go ahead and talk about, you guys, are the sideways strikes that we do in our form. Now, in this form, there are two types of side-to-side strikes. There's power strikes, there's also speed strikes. I say this because in XMA and Creative, we are focused on speed, and not necessarily power, because speed is what looks good. But in this form, you guys, if you do a really powerful strike, and you bring your bow back to your ribs, and it's something like this, and this isn't even that thick. It's kind of not so dense. But if you do one with a really, really good wooden bow and you do this, you might break a rib. So that's not the best idea, you guys. So on power strikes, you need to remember, and I'm going to talk about the difference in the form, but you need to remember that it comes to your hip. It's not a forward strike. It's a little bit lower, but it's always hip, hip. Here it still comes to your shoulder, right? But other side, it's always hip. And again, that's for our power strikes. There's a couple speed strikes in this form that do come up to your ribs, but those are different. Like I said, I'm going to explain those when we get to those in the form. So, and if you guys have any questions, Mrs. Stairs behind the camera, I would be more than happy to answer them. Just comment them down below. She'll tell me, and I'll try to go over them as we go through the form, or as, you know, in the middle of me talking or something like that. So make sure you guys ask if you have any questions. So, before we start the form, we got one more thing actually. I drew a little picture. I want you guys to see it. Let's go over that. A little bit about the picture. The square represents a ring, and pretty much what it's doing, guys, it's showing you the line you need to be on for this form. Now, if you've ever seen somebody do the gumdo form, right, which is the form that Mr. Shuster does, the sword form, then you know it goes on an angle. It goes this way. If you were looking at the square right here, this is my pretty picture, hope you like it. The sword form goes this way. Well, this bow form, the mid-range bow form, goes this way. Goes to the right, up to the top right corner, and down to the bottom left corner. Now, if you look right here, you guys, if you've done your angles at school, most of you are old enough, I think, where you've done that, you know that if I make a square and I cut it into 4 squares like this square right here, that's a 90-degree angle, right? And then half of that is 45. So this form right here, you guys, is on a 45-degree angle the entire time. A lot of the times what happens is we start, because we start facing this way. You guys start going here, and then because of how your stances are made up, your front stances, which I will get to once we start doing the form, you do something like this, and then you end up like making this weird shape. That's not how the form goes. You guys need to try your hardest to stay on that 45-degree angle. So if you have something right now, you guys, like if you're a big open area like a garage, maybe a backyard, if you've got things that you can put up in a square around you, that would help. If you're maybe someplace where you can put down some tape, that would help. Just make sure that you have a starting point. And like I said, it goes from a 45-degree angle up to the top right corner and down to the bottom left corner. Because again, this is one of the biggest things, guys, as a judge, that I notice when people are doing their form. If they are online, looks great. If they go offline and do all this type of stuff, it's not very good. So, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so from the beginning, Junbi, there's a certain way we got to do it. Because again, guys, going back to being a judge watching this at a tournament, if I see somebody come up to the middle of the ring, and their bow is too short, and they walk up like this, and this is their Junbi, I know that they're going to do an XMA and Creative form. And like I said before, this is not XMA and Creative, it's different. So when we start, first we hold our bow right here out to our side. Whether it's tall or not, we can't really control that. You guys can't really get new bows right now. But hopefully it's a little bit taller than. We hold it right here by our side. We bow, it doesn't move. And then when we do Junbi, there's a certain way that I have to move my hands. First, my left hand comes up, it's open. My right hand goes on top, and I close my left hand, and then I step out with my left leg as I bring it around right here. Now that's important, you guys. If you've ever been in a private lesson with Chief Master, like I said, and I'm going to say that a bunch because he's the one that catches me on all this stuff. If you ever had a private lesson with him, and you do this, stop, he's going to make you do it a bunch of times. So one more time. We're here, it's left hand open, right hand on top, close it, and then step out here. Now some people, they like to put their pointer finger out on their bow. Some people like to keep it back. I like to keep it back, although sometimes I do that if my bow doesn't feel too good or something that day. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you're holding it nice and firm behind your back, you guys. Don't let it loose and be wobbly and that type of stuff. It should be here. So one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's talk about those first 3 moves. very first move is a block, and the second two are strikes. There's certain things that we need to do with our feet and certain things that we need to do with our hands. Now, the very first thing that you need to do is make sure that you are not doing this. See, I swung my bow around. I'm not swinging it around before I catch it, you guys. Here, kind of like in the first degree form, let's say, when a lot of people say the first move is a head snap, same thing. The first move is not this. The first move is you grab it. Then you do that block. So really think about that, guys. Not as a move. I don't want you to do this, because that's too much. But make sure that you are doing that very first thing. So we're right here. I grab first. I bring it around. Block. Now if you notice, I picked up this foot. It shouldn't be out. It shouldn't be way in. It shouldn't be behind me. It's just straight up like I'm going to do a front kick. And my bow, you guys, should be straight side to side. Or straight up and down, excuse me. Right here. Now the way that I can get it to be straight up and down, guys, is I'm punching with my right hand here, and my other hand is also coming out. It's not really doing the big strike or the block or anything. It doesn't have all the power, but it's important to keep that there, because if I don't move it at all, this is what happens. And you guys, if you strike like this, first you're going to get hit in the elbow. Second, it might slide up and hit your head. Anything like that might happen. So we need to make sure that it's away from our body and that it is solid, straight up and down right here. Also make sure that you pick this foot up. If you don't and you keep it right here, you just got hit in the ankle. Because right here, guys, we're blocking either up high, in the middle, or down low. So we got to be ready for all that. So, first move, here. Second move, with our circle strikes for this form, you guys, starting positions are important. You need to bring it all the way over. It doesn't live here, so don't keep it there for too long, but you need to bring it over before you actually do that strike. Again, going back to XMA and Creative, when we're doing that, it's about speed. Here it's about technique and power. So we're here, all the way over, strike, landing in that good middle stance. Next move, when you do this uppercut, you guys, you gotta move that foot. Because when you do it, I'm gonna move a little bit closer to the camera so you can see this side. When you do that uppercut, if you don't move your foot, you should be hitting your leg. That's how close it needs to be to your body, you guys. And that's throughout the entire form as well. So we're here, we move that foot, not too much, just enough to get it out of the way. Uppercut, making sure that we are doing that correctly. So let's go through that one more time. It's here, remember, lift your foot, grab it first, block straight up and down. Ready? 1. Starting position. 2. Move that foot enough to get it out of the way. 3. All those 3 moves are in the middle stance. One more time, I'll do it nice and fast for you. Right there. Next part, we gotta look first. This look is really, really important because this is what gets us on our 45-degree angle right here, you guys. If you look kind of soft and you do this, and then kind of just do your block, you can get off center. You need to make it aggressive. You need to look, and then stay right there. It really helps if you look straight forward. If you look down, that's not going to be good. It doesn't look good for presentation either. So look straight at your target. Right foot goes behind the left foot. Block. Right here, I'm in that X stance. My left foot is solid on the ground. I take a big step back with my left leg. Step back with my right in a rear stance. Uppercut. These are not slow. And then step back in a back stance with my front leg. Uppercut. Now, a couple of things with our uppercuts that I actually forgot to talk about. Be careful not to do this and open up your hands. That's a no-no. That's bad. And make sure, guys, that you are, again, keeping it nice and close to your body. You shouldn't be moving like this. You're not rowing a boat, but you should move your shoulders enough, guys, to where that bow stays tight, close to your body. So one more time. We just did that uppercut. Hard look on that 45-degree angle. Right foot steps back. Block. Make sure, guys, that is a low block. If I didn't have my bow in my hand, that's a low block, so block across. Left foot, big step back. Right foot back, uppercut. Keeping it nice and close, hands closed. Step out in the back stance, uppercut. Now, something that I got caught on with this stance right here, you guys, is make sure that you're not doing this and then stepping into a back stance like this. Your weight needs to stay on your back leg. So it's here, or excuse me, here, here. See, this front leg just steps, back leg stays the exact same. So, let's go ahead and move on. Here, guys, this is another part that could get you offline. Excuse me. You need to make sure that you step in that front stance, but instead of stepping to the side, this way, and kind of going this way, that you step more forwards. This is also something that I haven't talked about yet, but it's super, super important for your form, you guys. A traditional Taekwondo front stance is this. Nice and wide, front knee bent, back knee straight, toes forwards, everything forwards. A bow staff front stance, and really a weapons front stance, because in some other forms it's the same thing. You need to make it longer instead of wide, here, and then bend a little bit more. Now if you notice, my back foot kind of wants to turn a little bit, and right here, you guys, that's going to happen. You need to make sure that you keep that heel nice and back and that you stretch that calf muscle, but it's here, it's long. So when we step out into this stance, make sure that you're not stepping out too wide into a good front stance. It's supposed to be a good front stance, but guys, it's supposed to be a good weapons front stance. It's straight, not wide. So we're here. I just did that step. These are one of our side-to-side strikes. These are powerful. We need to scope nice and wide and really turn our hips and our shoulders. So it's low, middle, high. You need to scope enough to where you, let me say that again. You need to scope so much, you guys, that you have to turn your hips and your shoulders to hit your targets. If you're doing it really comfortable right here and you're not moving anything, that's wrong. You need to scope nice and wide, go low, middle, high. Just like that. Next part, I step into that parallel stance. Keeping my knees bent, these are just nice and fast. 1, 2. You need to hit the same level each time. 1, 2. Don't do that or anything like that. Keep it under control. Step out into that good long front stance again, not a wide one. Strike, hitting to the side like we were talking about. And then these two moves, guys, is actually a stab, thrust. The difference between a stab and a thrust is literally just the stab. So it's here, you pull it back, stab, pull it back, thrust. See, on my thrust, I step forwards just a little bit. Biggest thing, though, is that I bend my knee more. So this is a regular front stance for this form. This is a thrust front stance right here. So it's 1, 2. Then I step back in that rear stance. Nice, close uppercut right there. That one is nice and slow. So let's go through that just one more time. Here, here, step out straight forwards, scope, use your shoulders, step, keep your knees bent, nice and fast, scope, step out, strike to the side, stab, thrust, step back into that rear stance, nice tight uppercut. Okay, this next part is tricky because of the rhythm, you guys. The blocks aren't necessarily hard, it's just getting our feet and our bow to work at the same time. So, we are right here. I do that first move. None of these are in real stances, you guys. They are stances, they just don't have a name. Okay, so I step out here, 1. Kind of like I'm combat sparring. If I got a combat stick in my hand, it would look the same. 1. Second step, I step over with this foot, I don't cross my legs, punching with that right hand. This is just your first move again. 2. Third move, I step out back into that combat sparring fighting stance again. 3. And I do that nice strong low block. This next block is block 1, flip 2, strike 3. You need to make sure that you do all 3 of those. So it's, let me do those 3 moves one more time. So I want you to see the rhythm as well. It's here, 1, 2, 3. That's a slow version of it, nice and fast. It should be 1, 2, 3. Anyway, but I'm right here. I block, block, strike, thrust. Again, doing the same things that we did for the last one. Step back, uppercut. Right there. That's about the first quarter of the form, you guys. Right here is where we turn. I'm going to show you that one more time, nice and fast, so you get a good feel for it. Right here. Or here, excuse me. Sorry, thinking a line before. Okay, so we're here. Stepping out, not stances, remember, they're like combat sparring stances. 1, 2, 3. Block, block, strike, thrust, uppercut. Cool. And Make sure, guys, your hand and foot timing on those uppercuts really isn't at the end of the strike. Because if you did that, it would look like this. And that looks gross. So just start the motion of your strike as you're moving backwards, you guys. Or, sorry, that's what I just said not to do. Start your strike, guys, when your foot comes back all the way. Right? So I do that thrust, I step, then I'm starting. Not together, not on that one. Anyway, so we're right here in our good rear stance. This look, you guys, should be like that first look that we did in our form, right? Somebody's coming up from behind you, about to hit you with a big stick. So we're here, we gotta look, get set. This is not a move, don't make this really hard. You're just getting set. It's look, set. Fast, but not a strike. Now I'm gonna back up a little bit so you guys can see it better. Here, look, get set. I'm stepping back, you guys, and these are actually blocks, they're not strikes. Somebody's stabbing down low at your legs and you're blocking, blocking, blocking. Notice that when I did that, my hand came back to my hip. We're going to bring it back up to our ribs in just a second, but not on these knees. It stays by our hip. So we're here. I look, I get set. Step back with my left leg. 1, 2, 3. The only one with a real stance is the third one. My left foot comes back around, smushes my back, my right calf right here. I'm nice and solid. So let me show you that one more time. Let me do it going this way so you can see it better. So I'm here. I look, I get set. I step back 1, hip, 2, shoulder, 3. X stance, left shin on right calf, right here, knees nice and bent. So the next part, these are our speed moves. Now, like I said, these are not meant to be super strong like these 3, but you gotta do them fast. So here, we just did these blocks. You can come up to your ribs on your second one, low, middle, high. You just need to make sure that, like I said, it's fast, and also that you are hitting your targets. This one, guys, it's really easy to do this. Low, low, high. Or, sorry. I gotta think about messing it up. Low, low, high. Or maybe low, high, high. Right? But those are wrong. You gotta go low, which is here, around. Gotta go middle, which is midsection. And then you gotta go high, which is neck and head. So you need to make sure that when you're doing those 3 moves, you're going low, middle, high. See, high isn't even that high for me. I'm not striking up here. It's right in front of my face. So make sure that you guys are doing that. And again, you can hit your ribs on this one. Make sure that you're not doing it super strong or else you're going to hurt yourself. So we did those 3 moves. Low, middle, high. Next move is not slow, right? I bring it up to my shoulder and it's not. Actually, that was even too fast. It's not this. Like you're going to see some people do at a tournament. That is not it. What you're doing, you guys, is you hit somebody, you're taking your bow, you're putting it on their shoulder, just like you're putting it on yours, and you're dragging them down to the floor. It's not going to be easy. You shouldn't make it look easy, but it should not be slow, because if you do this, the person's not unconscious, they're fighting against you, so you didn't do your job before with the other strikes. It's just drop it. You guys, just drop it. Shouldn't be super quick, shouldn't be super slow, just drop it. Right here, they're on the ground. These are our other speed strikes, right? So we're going to bring it to our ribs this time. We drop them. We're going to hit them in the face 2 times. 1, 2. Bringing it up to my ribs, like I said, making those fast. And then right here, we're going to pivot our feet. We're going to turn. We're going to bring our bow up and do that stab. Now, if you notice, in my stance, I do this a little bit for like dramatic effect almost. So I do those 3 strikes. I bring it down, I get nice and deep. 1, 2. Then right here, guys, I lift my body up a little bit with my legs. I don't straighten my knees all the way, but I'm here to make that stab look just a little bit harder, a little bit meaner. This is a mean form. You should feel mean while you do it. You should not feel like you're having a play date with your friend. No, you should feel like you're hitting somebody, you guys. So we're right here. 1, 2. Make this part mean. Turn your hips, turn your shoulders. Stick that bow in their chest, which is actually what you're doing. Okay, so you just stuck it in there. They are not made out of paper. So make sure, guys, that you're not stabbing the ground. You're stabbing up a little bit, right? Because a person's this wide, and you just went, it's right there. Your bow's right there. On the next part is where it's going to go through them. Very nasty, I know. So we're here, we did that stab. on this next part, you're going to use your body, lean your bow down. That's when it touches the floor. Don't you ever poke a hole in a mat because you stabbed too hard. Don't do that. That's when you press it on the floor. You hop over their body, and then you flick it up. This one, guys, is another part that could get you offline really easy. You need to make sure that when you stab, you jump, and you look, that you're looking at a target right at the corner of that ring. Or when you're in class right here, you guys, I like to use the stars. I know we're probably not going to be in a class for another bit, but still, when you come back, use your stars right here, you guys. Use your stars. Again, if you're at home, use your lines, use that target, whatever it is that you're using. So, one more time. I did this. I went 1, 2. I reached up. I did that stab. I sank. Boom. Did not stab the floor on that one. I'm going to put my bow down as I lean. That shouldn't be a move though, guys. That's just a transition. So I lean. I stick it in. Hop. Pop. Looking at my target and making sure that you guys, if my bow's there, I have a good amount of space in between where I landed and where the bow is. Because remember, that's a body right there. You don't want to step on the body. That's gross. That's icky. So you jump over it, then you pop your bow out of it. So we're here. I'm going to do this next section going towards you. Just know that you're going on that same exact line that we were just on, that 45. So we just did the pop. We're right here. Boom. That should be fast. That should be nice and hard. Your hands need to be right here. By your ribs, your bow should be right here, nice and strong. Because here, guys, you can use your muscles and keep it still. Out here, it's not as secure. So it's here. It's here nice and strong in that good middle stance. First move of this section is not a block. It's kind of like a setup. It's kind of like in the movies after somebody like beats up a guy and then they look around and they're like, oh. Same sort of thing. So we're stepping back here. Here. We're going, oh. We're just looking at the next guy that's going to come at us. Excuse me. Here we are in a closed stance though, so make sure that your knees are nice and bent. Next move, we step out into that back stance. We block across. Now if you notice, my block is not over my head. I just got hit. No, we're blocking across. It needs to clear our head and go the opposite direction. It's also correct if you want to do a bounce. I don't like that much though, and that kind of hurts my shoulders. So if you want to just here, as long as it's across your head, that works, you guys. Make sure you have a tight grip too. Now, like we talked about with the second move, with that circle strike, we need to make sure that we have a good starting position here before we do that next move. It's not where your move lives. Your move does not live in the starting position. Don't make that a move. But make sure that you get there before you actually do it. So we're here. Starting position set. Strike. Again, don't step out too wide. Stay on that 45 right there, you guys. So make sure that when you're here, you step out a little bit. It's not too much. And that strike, make sure you're not overreaching or doing anything like that. Next move. This part can be kind of tricky if you're kind of new to the bow. You put it in between your two first fingers, your middle and your pointer finger. You reach it up. So this should be your position in between those two strikes. You bring it down to your left hand. You strike. Palm heel strike. Now, that move, guys, is important because a lot of people do it wrong. And if you can do it right, it'll help your form. It is not a twirl, right? This form, I think, has one backwards figure eight, and that's it. This form does not have twirls. So it's not this. It's a strike, then a palm heel strike. So it's that circle strike, right? I'm stepping in that nice parallel stance with my knees bent. Here, I'm striking straight down. Then I'm doing that palm heel strike, you guys. In reality, you're not hitting anybody with this one. You're telling them to, hey, back up, and then they're scooting up a little bit, and then you're doing that palm heel strike. But if they were there, you should be hitting them. So you need to make it a strike. So it's here, up, straight down, 1, 2. And about that palm heel strike, you guys, make sure that when you're doing this move, you're not letting go too early. You only let go when you need to let go. What I mean by that is, if you're letting go right here, you still had a bunch of time you could have hold on to your bow. You need to bring it straight down right here, and then your hand is letting go right when I can't hold on any longer. So make sure that you're doing that, guys. It's going to help this strike be nice and strong. So it's here. Now this part is the part that gave me the most issues. If you look, my back pointer finger is pushing my bow into my back. That is very important. Make sure that you are doing that, because if you don't do that, see what my bow already did? Lost control. You need to keep it nice and tight, because on this next move, guys, your bow should not move from where it is. What I like to think is that you're moving around your bow instead of, you're trying to grab your bow or something like that. So you're here, move around your bow, make sure your right hand goes under your left. Here, put your left hand where it needs to go, step, thrust, not step. So watch that one more time. I'm here. A lot of people like to do this. That person is here, right? I just did that strike right here. That person is right in front of me. If I turn my back away, they're going to kick me, they're going to hit me, they're going to do whatever. So I need to keep my eyes on them. I turn quick, look. Then I step out, thrust, right? And then I did that thrust, and that was really good. And then from right there, you guys, they are dead right here. If you guys haven't noticed, this form has a lot of dead people in it. That's okay, though. It's a really good for visuals, so make sure that you guys are thinking about that. If you want to think like you're stabbing a dummy or something so that you're not killing people, that's cool. But make sure that you're imagining something, right? That you're hitting something. So you just did that thrust. They're dead. You're going to drop them. I didn't lift them up into the air before I dropped them. That's not what we're doing. We're just going, whoop, dropping them straight to the floor. I'm dropping them in a rear stance, and my hands are nice and close right here, you guys. So I did that stab, I drop. This is the only twirl in the form. I do my backwards figure eight. Here. Now, if you guys notice, I snapped it into place. It shouldn't be soft. You should not do this. You can see how it kind of wobbled there at the end? It should be here, here. Nice and solid on that 45 line again. I have not left this 45 line, right? I'm just doing it this way so you can see it. But this entire time, I'm still going that way on my 45, towards that back left corner. Here, here. This time, your right shin should be pushing into your left calf. You're here. This next move, make sure that you're reaching back in a straight line, that you're stabbing in a straight line. Now, the timing on this is a little different, too. It's reach, lift your knee up, stab as you land. Same thing on the other side. Reach, stab. And the cool thing about this part, guys, it has sound effects. If you didn't know that. You should, I'm going to take this bracelet off really quick. I don't want to break it. You should be hitting yourself, right? So if, I'm going to try not to make any noise other than this. When you reach back, it should be, when you stab, it should be, it should sound like you're actually, thudding this into somebody's chest. So make sure you're here, you do that here, hit yourself, and make that nice strong thud as you do that stab, you guys. So, we did that. Again, keep this in a straight line. Boom, boom. On this next part, this is probably the trickiest part of the form. I think I've said that like 3 times already. I need it on this one, though. This is the hardest one. So we did that stab. My right foot went here, and then it went back in front to where my left shin, my left shin is smushing my right calf. I'm here. This is after the second stab. I'm not dropping it straight, you guys. I was about to say I'm not reaching back, but that is what you're doing. I'm not dropping it straight. I'm reaching back a little bit, and I'm placing it. I'm going to do this sideways so you can see. I'm placing it on my right thigh. If you've got a big bow like this or a bow that you can bend, I don't recommend bending your competition bow. Don't do that. But if you've got a big one like this, here it should bend a bit. So you stab, you bring it down, you bend it. On my right thigh. Right leg does not move. I take my left leg, I step over. I have not turned yet. What I'm doing here, guys, is I'm taking my left calf and I'm using it to smush the bow against my right thigh. And then right here, I gotta be quick. I'm taking my right foot and I'm putting it at the end of my bow over there. I kind of missed. Let me do that again. So it's here, stab, stab. I reach back, I drop. I step over, keeping it with pressure on both of my legs. I step around here. Now what's happening here, you guys, you just did those 2 stabs, but, ha, you dropped it. There is a dead person. I'm sorry, but there is. Right here. Now Mrs. Stairs looking at me like I'm crazy. This is how they taught me the form, man. There's a dead person right here. They weigh a good amount of weight, right? They're your size, right? So you can't just drop them. You can't let your bow drop. You're keeping it there, guys. So keep that bow nice and still there. Get that back leg to support your bow. That's what that back foot is there for. You're supporting it. And then right here again, you're just dropping him. You're not doing this. You are not Superman. You're not the Hulk. Sorry. You can't lift a person like that with a stick. All you're doing is dropping him. You're bringing your bow up, and then you're stabbing their friend behind them. Boom. A lot of stabbing, a lot of dead people. I know. I'm sorry. But I think that's the reason why this form is super cool. Because it's good to visualize. And this form, you guys, as long as you are doing it in a way where it's actually going to work, you're doing it correctly. So what I mean by that is there's not really that much fluff in this form. Like some forms have fluff, this form does not have any fluff. You do it right, you do it the way it works, and it's correct. Right? Even if it's not the prettiest way it looks, if you're doing it right, that's right. That's what you need to do. And this is one of those cases. This looks cool, I guess, but it's not right. You got a body on there. So you're going to drop them, stab behind them. Now if you notice, a lot of people have trouble with this part right here, with bringing their bow up and doing that stab. I like to make the analogy where it's like drawing a bow, like bow and arrow, not this one. Right? So you're going here. Right? You started it low and you're doing this. And then instead of letting the arrow go, because that's not doing anything, you're stabbing. You're pushing the arrow straight through that way. So one more time. We're here. I switched my hands. Right hand should be on bottom. I just drop. See, this hand came up. I get the bow ready. And then I stab as I turn my hips and my shoulders. So I'm here. Next part, you guys, there's a lot of different ways people do them. Just bring it up to your shoulder. It shouldn't be that fancy. It shouldn't be that fluffy. Like I said, there's not much fluff in this one. Bring it to your shoulder. Now, if you notice, I switched hands because I'm right-handed. Some people say that it needs to be like this. Other people say that left-handed people should do it this way. As long as you do it strong, that's fine. That's one of those parts where it doesn't really matter that much. So it's here. I bring it up to my shoulder. Now let me get on my angle so you can see it. I bring it up to my shoulder. I'm still looking on my 45, right? So this entire time, yes, that's right. This entire time, I've been on that 45, you guys. I'm here. I bring it to my shoulder. I step with my right foot, and I'm striking down low here. So I'm setting it strike one. Bring it back, get it set. This is important, you guys. Just like with this part right here, you need to keep your eyes on that bad guy. So you do that stab. You bring it up. You finish this one off. You're focused on this one. I almost fell that time, but I didn't. You're focused on this one now. So you need to step forward with that right leg here. Now here, it actually does go to your left shoulder. Remember, you're striking down low, but it comes up right here. This is where it stops. I bring my left hand back. I step back into that front stance. Forward strike. Again, remembering that I'm striking sideways, not straight forwards. Here, I do my wrist roll on my right side of my body. It's not like this. That's in the middle. It needs to be here, all the way to my side so that I can get set again. So it's here, strike, wrist roll, step forward, strike. Again, with your arm in that good position right there, you guys. Not here, here. Striking to the side using that bicep muscle. Nice and strong. Here, this part a lot of people do it differently. The way I like to think about it is that you're sweeping somebody. So you struck them on the left side of their neck. Gonna bring your bow over their head, down, sweep their foot as you move your foot back, and then you're gonna go into your forward figure eights. So watch that on this side. I do this strike. I bring it up and over the head, and you need to make sure you do that part. Don't cut somebody's head off. Bring it up above their head, step back, sweep, go into those forward figure eights. I'm not going to hit you, Mrs. Dare. She flinched a little. So we're here. We're doing those forward figure eights. On the first one is a strike. Strike. The other two are getting set. Then on the fourth one, you step strike, step strike, step strike, down. Now those are really important, you guys. That's like the exclamation mark on your entire form. That, and especially the last move. You need to make sure that, again, you're not in a front stance, you're not in a back stance, you're not in a sparring stance. You're kind of in a combat sparring stance. Like you're about to run off the blocks or something like that. I never did track, so if I'm wrong, correctly. So I'm here. Am I right, Mrs. Stair?
Yes.
She did try. She knows. Okay. So I'm here, you guys. I'm here. Just like this. When I step, my front foot steps, back foot drags. It's weird at first because your foot wants to skip a little bit, but you need to keep it on the floor. So it's here. It's 1, 2, 3, step a little bit, not too much. It shouldn't be a big step, but step a little bit. Get into that nice front stance right here. This hand should be here. Shouldn't be pushing or anything. Shouldn't be doing this. Should just be here. Another thing, and that's on the other side as well. I'm not going to do the other side as much because they're the same thing pretty much. Your timing for that forward figure 8 strike, guys, should not be where your fist does the strike, where your fist passes your target. Remember, you're not hitting with your fist. It's not that, because see, my bow is still 30 feet behind me. It's when the bow hits the target that I step. And that's a really tricky timing to get, because we do Taekwondo. We do the way of the hand and foot. That's what Taekwondo means. We don't do weapons all the time. So you need to make sure that you wait for that weapon to get there before you step.
Don't pull a Flores. Don't pull a Flores on the figure 8.
Oh, no, I'm not going to throw my bow. Miss Flores, if you're watching, don't throw your bow either, man. Please, thank you. Okay. So you're here. You just did this part. This is just kind of the setup, guys. Again, you're really here. You're just checking to make sure that the guy that you just murdered is there. So you're here. You look. You step back. You have a strike right here, guys, on the backswing, which is kind of weird. You step back, strike this way. Then you go 1, 2, and then all those things that we talked about before, the timing, the strikes, the stance, everything applies on this one as well. So it's 1, 2, 3, here. Now this last move, if maybe you don't have very good knees, maybe because you're older or something like that, you guys don't have to go all the way down like this. Right? You guys can do this and kind of put your bow down. You guys can even, I've seen Miss Snyder, because she has bad knees, she just does this. That is fine. If you need to do that, that's okay. But if you're young and you can do this, do this. Don't do this. That's wrong. You're taking that bow, guys, and you're slamming it. You cannot do that if you don't get all the way down. So it's here, grab, sit back, slam. Stand up, look at your target. Last thrust. Nice and strong. And when you're done, you step up with your left leg, here, and back. So that's the entire form. I know that was a lot. This form is very technical, guys, very picky. Again, if you have any questions, I'm going to do the whole thing just one time for you guys to watch. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them really quick. I'll try to answer them. Go back through it, watch it. I know I talk fast. Go back through it and watch it again. If you need help with a certain part, but guys, that's pretty much it. If you can do everything that I just talked about, your form is going to look super, super solid. Okay, and if you guys would like any drills or something, I can actually give you like 2 or 3 drills really quick. I gave you one at the beginning. It was that forward strike, right? So you're here. You can even add the wrist roll there to make it like that last part of your form. Make sure that you're doing that form on a line. So like I said, with tape, with targets, that type of thing. Work on these strikes. I love doing these 3 strikes because they get you to use your hips and your shoulders and they're really strong. So get in that front stance, scope your hands out, go low, middle, high, really twisting. And really, guys, if you can do your form with a thick bow like this one, and this one isn't even that heavy, but you can work your way up. If you can get a thick bow like this one, if you have one, if you've been to a seminar before and they've given you one, like that's how I got mine, use it. That's going to help you a lot, guys, for when you do your form with your really light bow at competition to make it really strong. But, I got to say this, the reason why most people break their bows, you guys, is because on their circle strikes, they're reaching out way too far. Here. Or, no, excuse me, they're reaching their hands way too close. Here. And it's splitting back over here. So you need to make sure that you still have good enough control to not, break your bow, but still make sure that you're doing it strong. So kind of stop it and really make sure that your hands are in the right spot. So, Mrs. Stair, have we gotten any questions yet?
Mm-mm.
You guys are awesome. Huh. I'm going to go ahead and do it one time, you guys, and then we'll be done. Again, if you got any questions, ask them. Anyway, that's pretty much it, you guys. Thanks for being here. Let's do it one more time. Now, one last thing, you guys. I have some old habits. They're not correct. So if maybe you saw me do something in my form and then said something differently, do what I said, not what I did. What I said was right. What I did might have been wrong just because of some old bad habits. But thank you for being here, you guys. Sorry. Tomorrow is the Song Knot?
At 10.
The Song Knot seminar at 10. So if you guys got any Song Knot friends, make sure you tell them. And then the Gumdo seminar is at 2:30? Mr. Stair, when's your seminar tomorrow? 2:30. 2:30 tomorrow as well. Make sure that you guys tell everybody who needs to go there that they go. It'll be really good. And yeah, pretty much it. Thank you guys for being here.